Now let us see what should be known before we write the chemical formula of various compounds. There are three important steps that we need to remember in this order in order to derive the chemical formula of a compound. That is, first we need to write the symbol of the element or otherwise the radical along with its valency. And in the next step, we need to interchange the valencies of the element or otherwise the radical. And in the third step, after interchanging, we have to write the interchanged number and hence we will derive at the formula. Now let us understand how to write the chemical formula of various compounds by understanding few examples. First, let us take metallic oxide. What is a metallic oxide? When there is a combination of a metal along with oxygen, we call that as a metallic oxide. An example of a metallic oxide is sodium oxide, where we already know that sodium, which is a metal, and it combines with oxygen in order to form the compound sodium oxide. Now we are going to derive the chemical formula of this metallic oxide, that is sodium oxide. Now let us see how it is. We need to follow these three steps in this order. So let us see the first step. It says, write the symbol of the element or radical with its valency. Now we have already studied the symbols of various elements and also the valency of various elements. So what we need to do first is, we need to identify the elements that are present in the compound. So in the case of sodium oxide, we know that the elements that are present are sodium and oxygen. So first we need to write the symbol of the element or radical. So here the symbols of sodium and oxygen. So we are writing it as Na for sodium and O for oxygen. Now what it says that you need to write the symbol of the element along with its valency. So we have already studied the symbol of sodium is Na and its valency is 1. And we already know that all the metals will have a positive valency and therefore we write it as Na plus 1. And for oxygen the symbol is O and we know that the valency of oxygen is equal to 2. And for non-metals, it has got a negative valency. Therefore, we write it as O2 minus. Now, what is the second step? It says, interchange the valencies of the element or radical, which means that the valency of sodium will now go for oxygen and valency of oxygen will now go for sodium. So, let's see how it is. The valency, which is 1, that is the valency of sodium, has now to be interchanged with oxygen. So 1 will go for oxygen. Therefore, we write that 1 under the symbol here. And the valency of oxygen, that is equal to 2, will now go for sodium. And therefore, we write that valency of oxygen under sodium. Now, what is the next step? We need to write the interchanged number. So, how do we write Na? 2 is now for sodium. So, Na2 and O1, 1 which is the valency of sodium. Now, it is for oxygen. So, we need to write these valencies as subscript to each of these elements. So, it comes like Na2O1 as you see here, Na2O1. So, this is now the interchanged number. Now, what we have to do? Finally, we are going to derive the formula. So, whenever there is a 1, always ignore that 1. So, after ignoring this 1, we will derive the formula. That is Na2O. So, this Na2O is the chemical formula of sodium oxide. Likewise, let us see how to derive the chemical formula of metallic chloride. Just like metallic oxide, when there is a combination of a metal along with that of chlorine, it forms a metallic chloride. An example here is calcium chloride. Calcium, which is a metal, it combines with chlorine in order to form the compound calcium chloride. Now let us see how to derive the chemical formula of calcium chloride. First, as the step says, write the symbol of the element or radical along with its valency. So now we know that in calcium chloride, the elements that are present are calcium and chlorine. So we are writing the symbols of calcium as Ca and chlorine as Cl. Now we are supposed to write it along with the valency of each of these elements. So the valency of calcium is 2. We have already studied that. And since calcium is a metal, it will have a positive valency. Since all metals will have a positive valency. And therefore we write it as Ca plus 2. Now in case of chlorine, which is a non-metal, it has got a negative valency, where all non-metals will generally have a negative valency. And we have already studied the valency of chlorine, that is equal to 1. And therefore we write it as Cl 1 minus. Now what is the next step? We need to interchange the valencies of the element or radical, which means the valency of calcium, that is 2, will now go for chlorine. And the valency of chlorine, that is 1, will now go for calcium. Now we have to write the interchanged number as the third step, that is Ca1, as you see here, Ca1 and Cl2. Cl2. Now we have already seen in the previous case, whenever there is a 1, we need to ignore that 1 and write the chemical formula. So the chemical formula of calcium chloride is CaCl2, as you see here.